The Magic Faraway Tree was released in 2026 and was directed by Ben Gregor. It tells the story of the Thompsons, who have moved to the countryside. At first, things start off to be a bit of a disaster until the children end up finding a magical tree with magical residents. They are then transported to fantastical lands which lead them to recreating their family bond through their journey.
My friends thought I was crazy to see this movie in cinemas, and my friends thought I was crazy for thinking that the film looked good. Everyone thought the film looked awful. And of course, let's not forget that one joke that absolutely everyone adored in the trailer.
It's just fun.
Do you have any Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi? God's got Wi-Fi. There's me, I love Wi-Fi. Here's Wi-Fi.
Hello, I'm Beller. Brian's Wi-Fi.
So everyone thought the film looked awful. To me though, I thought the movie looked actually pretty good. I mean, I thought the film, I didn't think it looked amazing, but I thought the film could have been a fun, entertaining movie. And so I went to see it today at my third favourite cinema, ODEON Point Square. Had a beautiful day at the Point, the Docklands of Dublin. And I went to see the movie. I went in optimistic. And after coming out of it, I have to say, what the actual fuck was that? That movie was really, really, really bad. I have to be honest, but I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it is. I genuinely thought the trailer made it look decent, but the film itself, oh my Jesus Christ, this has to be one of the most cringiest, one of the most cheesiest, and one of the most stupidest movies out there. The storyline is ridiculously filled with a ridiculous amount of cliches and predictability. The film is so generic. The world building is not all that creative and it's not very interesting. The way the enchanted tree is introduced is absolutely ridiculous. It's actually just so stupid. I actually think I was the loudest one in the cinema laughing because there's some scenes in the movie, especially in the first half, that are just so bad. It's so cringy, where it's just hysterical. Like, the humour of the movie is terrible. Now, there is some funny lines of dialogue, there's some chuckle-worthy lines of dialogue, but for the most part, the film's comedy really falls flat. The dialogue is absolutely terrible. The storyline just goes in such a generic, predictable way. Everything is told so stupid. It's so corny. Like, you know exactly how this story is going to go. And the execution, it's so poor. And the execution doesn't help in the slightest. The execution is just so plain, basic. And it's just so... There's not much else for me to say. It's just so stupid. And at times, it's one of those movies that's just real... It's real cringy, where you're watching it and you're just going, Jesus Christ, what is this? Because I was like that throughout a lot of this film, especially with the main villain. Her scenes are the worst in the movie. She was awful. The storyline, I did not expect it to be as bad as it was. But my God, it actually shocked me. The storyline of the movie is pure and utter crap. The one thing I did like, however, there is a plot twist with Moonface towards the end of the movie. I'm not going to spoil it, but I actually quite liked the way the twist was introduced. But my problem with it, they don't do anything with it. The twist is introduced so late, and when they introduced it at the very end, I was like, why couldn't they make the movie about that? That would have made a much more compelling and a much more interesting film. The film's positives, though, have to be the visuals. The visuals are actually very nice. The locations are very nice and they're very colourful. They're very nice to look at. The lighting is very good. The effects are really good. The costumes are really creative, I have to say. The film also has a very nice colour correction. So on a visual level, the movie is very nice to look at. However, another problem I have with the movie, now it might have been just the screening I was in, but the audio was actually crap with a few parts. Sometimes you could barely hear what the characters were saying. Either it was because my showing, maybe the audio in my screening wasn't great, but there were times where it was either the characters were talking so low or the music was just so loud. It was very hard to hear the characters sometimes. And the film's performances are extremely weak. Andrew Garfield tries his best, but for the most part, the cast gives such wooden performances some performances are just so over the top, where it's just so cringy to watch. And Jennifer Saunders' performance, not great, not bad, but not very good. She's barely in the movie, but most of the cast do such either wooden jobs or very over-the-top and weak performances. The acting of the film is pretty mid, to say the least, and the characters, they're not much better.
Tim is such an idiot. The movie tries way too hard to make him funny and charming, and it just fails miserably. The way he carries on is just so ridiculous, and my god, he could have done so much more. Tim's wife does jack shit, apart from one good scene of the movie. There is one good scene in the movie, but it genuinely feels like it's from a completely different movie. Apart from that, she does basically nothing, and there is nothing to her character. The kids are extremely generic. Fran is really not that interesting. The direction taken with her character arc is very cliche, and while Joe is fine, he doesn't really do anything. But the worst of the kids for me is Beth. Oh my god, her character is beyond generic and cliche, and it is extremely predictable with how her character arc is going to go. The execution does not help in the slightest, and throughout the film, I actually think she got more and more cliche. Her bond with Joe and Fran is just way too generic, and the execution does not help at all in the slightest. The best character in the movie is probably Silky. Now, there are times where she was quite annoying, but I think she's the most likeable of the bunch, and to her credit, her interactions with the other characters are actually decent, but they're not enough to save the movie. Moonface is an idiot. He is an absolute idiot, and he is so over the top. But you know what? I think that actually worked. I think that actually made him hilarious, because he is just so stupid, so idiotic, to the point where you just have to laugh at him. Then there's Dame Snap, the main villain of the movie. Oh, Jesus Christ. She is honestly, quite possibly, one of the worst movie villains I've ever seen in any film. She is absolutely terrible. She has very little screen time. She's absolutely ridiculous and extremely over the top. And my god, her scenes in the movie are just absolutely atrocious. She is hands down the worst character in the entire movie.
Then you have the other characters like the Saucepan Man, the guy that doesn't know his name, and many others. And while I'll give credit, they contribute to the plot, they're not very interesting. They're not all that developed, and they're just quite forgettable. The film has a very weak, a very poor cast of characters. The film's music is not bad. There is some decent tracks, but the film's score is not all that memorable. Now, for me personally, in my personal opinion, I thought the trailer was fun. I thought the film looked very entertaining, and it could have been a decent surprise. Yes, the joke about the Wi-Fi is so dumb and so corny, but I thought the movie could have been somewhat of a surprise. So I went in optimistic. But my god, I was so shocked, and I actually was just laughing, because when I walked out, I was just so shocked with how much of a piece of crap this movie is. Now, if you do want to see The Magic Faraway Tree, sure, give it a chance. Maybe you'll like it. But for me, I thought the film sucked. And when I was walking out of the screen, they had a little TV beside the screen, and they actually had the trailer playing for Hoppers, and it just made me say, you know what? I actually wish I went to see Hoppers again.
Overall, The Magic Faraway Tree is just, wow. Awful storytelling, poorly written characters, weak performances, and music that's, while not bad, it's not very memorable. It's visually nice to look at, but other than that, it's a really bad film. I'm going to give The Magic Faraway Tree a very low 4 out of 10.
So that's it for my review of The Magic Faraway Tree. Let me know what you guys think of the movie in the comment section below. Stay tuned for my next review, which is going to be on the Super Mario Galaxy movie. I'm pretty excited to see it, I have to say. I really like the first one. I'm definitely going to watch it again to prepare. And I'm very excited for the sequel, so I hope the sequel is good. So stay tuned for my review of that. And until then, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you all next time. And skadoosh.